Good evening from a very hot United Kingdom. Here in London, it is pushing 28, 29 degrees Celsius. That's like 82 Fahrenheit. It is hotter in London than it is in Los Angeles today. And as a ginger, very pale person, I'm not built for this weather. I love the heat, but I have to lather up in the sunscreen, of course. Today we have an update about the Church of Scientology Manchester. It's been a while since I last spoke about Manchester on this channel, and I'm looking forward to giving you this update. But first, let's say hello to those of you in the chat. Humdinger says, hello from Georgia, USA. Hello. Matt is in the house. Good to see you back, buddy. Thank you so much. Humdinger also says, Alex, you said 2:45. It's now 2:48. Yes, apologies for the late start. Mark the Dorset SP is here. Hi, Alex, and all on this warm night. Indeed. Danielle Chamberlain is in the house. Hi, hi. Lupita is here. Good to see so many familiar faces. SP Crusader Leanie's in the house. Thank you so much for being such a great moderator. Mary Kay London is here. Hi from New Mexico. And we also have P. Trina saying hello from Reading, although spent the day in London. That's amazing. I hope you got a chance to go and see the billboards at Tottenham Court Road Station. CO Bilf is here. Is it hot in London or is it just Alex? Well, I would argue back and say it's you, CO Bilf. Miss B says, yeah, no temps above 75 or below 50. I love the heat. I definitely do. But it's definitely muggy and not a nice heat in the UK. But in America, particularly on the West Coast, it's a dry heat. It's a little bit more manageable. Kathy Scoggins is here. Hi, you're listening while driving. Eggert is here. Hi from Norway. God, there's a lot of you here. Las Vegas Nanny says good afternoon from a lovely Las Vegas, Nevada. Helen Woods is here. Hi, Alex. Epic work by you and all on the billboards. Thank you so much. I'm so glad they're up. And if you do have a chance to go and see the billboards at Tottenham Court Road, definitely go and check them out. So Manchester, this is the current Church of Scientology in Manchester. It is on Deansgate. It is literally a shop. 258 Deansgate. It's kind of like a high street type area with other shops and things around, right in the center of town, but it's just this kind of shop front where they sell books and so on. I'm not sure. I think they have the whole building with all those floors as well, but that is the current Manchester org. Now, I think it was 18 years ago, they purchased a building in Trafford to become the new ideal organization of Manchester, and this is the new building. I say new, it's old now, but this is going to be the new home of the Church of Scientology Manchester. You can see it is huge. It's a massive building, historic. It was in the old Duckworth distillery, so it's a very historic building in Manchester. It's a little bit further out from the city centre, so there's definitely less foot traffic in this area, but as you can see, it is a huge building that has been awaiting refurbishment for 18 years. And you can see from these pictures here on Street View, which were taken in March of this year, that the scaffolding is finally going up. It seems like renovation work is finally happening at Manchester, and that is going to be the next org to go ideal here in the UK. And we have some inside information about it. So let's share this article on Scientologybusiness.com, which is my blog, if you want to read along with it. Now, I've had to blank out the names of people in the YouTube video because every time I mention a name of a Scientologist, it gets a privacy complaint from Scientology. So just on YouTube, it's not illegal to share names publicly, especially if it's published in a document, which is what we're sharing today. But nonetheless, Scientology like to abuse the YouTube privacy complaint system. So I just like to blank out their names on YouTube. However, if you want to find out the names, you can go to the blog post where I've published the entire article without any redactions. So this is the article here. Manchester is going ideal. Scientology's next UK ideal org rakes in $50 million in donations. A leaked document has revealed the Church of Scientology have raised in excess of $50 million, that's £37 million, for the refurbishment of their next ideal org in Manchester, with work now underway and a command team shipped in from the US to recruit new staff. Now, before I go on, I just want to explain what the ideal org program is, for those of you who don't know. David Miscavige, the current leader of the Church of Scientology, started this program in the early 2000s. And the idea is they purchase usually old historic buildings and refurbish them and restore them into what he calls ideal churches of Scientology. Historically, churches of Scientology were small little bookshops and kind of run-down buildings like the current Manchester org. And so the idea is they purchase these 50,000 plus square foot buildings for millions of dollars, refurbish them to make them really lovely new buildings that are ideal churches. So it's a refurbishment and renovation real estate project. So that's what we're talking about here. The former Duckworth Distillery building in Trafford was purchased by Scientology in 2007 for a reported £3.6 million, but has sat derelict for the last 18 years. In 2019, it was given planning consent by the local council. However, due to no refurbishment starting, the approval was later revoked. In June of last year, we reported Scientology had submitted a fresh application, and we now understand construction work is finally underway to bring the building up to the reclusive leader David Miscavige's ideal org standards. In a newsletter sent to parishioners, Scientology explains a group of executives have now been flown in from its headquarters in the United States to take over Manchester org's operations and ready it for the opening of its new building. So here is the newsletter. Breaking news, Manchester org is going ideal. And what's great about this is we get to see some pictures of some of the events behind the scenes and what's been going on. Scientology management has just fired a 4-man command team into Manchester org to help it realise LRH's vision and make the org ideal. The new command team has over 50 years combined experience and comprises a new executive director, an HCO executive secretary, and a public executive secretary and a flag banking officer. In addition, the command team was accompanied by an auditor, a course supervisor, and other SEAL members to help the org rapidly expand and go ideal. The org also has the golden age of administration LRH organizing board, plus new hat packs for every post. Now, one thing to note, what is a command team? This is what's called a mission in Scientology. These things happen when something is considered a flap. A flap in Scientology is something's gone wrong, essentially. So Manchester have had this building for 18 years and they haven't raised enough money. They haven't recruited enough staff. They haven't expanded enough to open their new org. And it's been going on for so long that Miscavige has sent over a group of executives from the US to handle this problem and get it so that it's back on its feet so that it can open as ideal. That's what's happened here. They're promoting this as a positive step, saying international management are now going to handle it and get it up open and it's all great. We have this command team. But in reality, there's a lot of pressure here. Somebody, Miscavige more likely, has said, you need to sort this out. This is a problem and you need to get this sorted out, and the org opened. So Sea Org staff have now been sent over from the US to handle it, to run the org and get it up to where it needs to be. Now, one question I do have is whether they have the appropriate visas. As what are they called? In the UK, they don't have charity status, but their buildings are considered places of worship. So they do have the ability to grant religious worker visas. However, as a part of that in the UK, they have to pay their staff a certain amount of money, a real wage, and they also have to be, they're restricted in the sorts of jobs they can have. So a salesperson, for example, would not be eligible for a religious worker visa because religious workers need to be ministers of religion. They need to be delivering auditing or group sessions or whatever it is that they claim is a religious service. So I really do hope that these people who have been flown over to the UK to handle this flap are not contravening the visas that they've been given and are not engaging any sort of sales activity, because that would be in contravention of their visas. The command team will be delivering like mad to the existing field while working to invite new public into the org and onto the bridge. An event was held to introduce the command team to Manchester, and it's mentioned some names here of people that travelled up from St. Hill with some pictures here. At the event, the command team, staff, and field came together for the start of a new era for the org and to be briefed on management's plans for the area. Scientologists came from all over the north to find out what was in store for them and the millions of people in the north of England. The new executives were introduced to the public, and the public were briefed on the exciting plan to flood the org with new people. To help bring this about, extensive renovations work has been done on the existing org building, and it is now set up to help them expand into their new ideal org. So we've got some pictures here of the existing org, which I showed you at the beginning of the stream. They have a newly renovated course room. They have a redecorated HGC, which is Hubbard Guidance Center. That's where auditing is delivered. Newly renovated reception area, welcoming all public into the org. And there's a picture here of a nice book display. So they spent a load of money refurbishing their current org, which they're going to move out of into their new org at some point soon, which seems like an awful waste of money, if you ask me. There's a picture here of the behind the scenes of the new org, where you can see there's scaffolding up and clearly some works going on. Scaffolding going up, old worn parts of the building being removed to make way for the new is what the caption says. The keys of the building are now in the hands of the construction team. Scaffolding has been erected, and we have 20 to 30 construction personnel working throughout the building. Sea Org members, org staff, and public are all working together to ensure that Manchester makes it to ideal. The essential elements are all there. Manchester is going to be the first ever brand new golden age ideal org in the UK, and it's happening now. If you feel you can help in any way by volunteering, donating, or joining staff, please contact this person. Scientology, and I've quoted it in the article here, finishing renovations and opening the new building is a top priority for Scientology, with the head of their UK headquarters at St. Hill joining the international team up north to help fire them into the org. It's talking here about those renovations here, and that's, again, some more quotes from the article. And here we have the recognition roll. Again, I've had to blur it out for the purposes of YouTube, but if you want to see, this is a list of all the people who have donated to make this building go ideal. And it has the different tiers here listed. And I have broken it down in the article how much money each tier is and how much money, therefore, that means they have raised. If you want to see that, click on the link in the description, and you can read the people and how much money they've donated. But the newsletter revealed the list, separating them into tiers. Last year, we broke down a previous version of the list to provide information about some of the individuals who are mentioned. And this is a comprehensive breakdown of exactly how much money has been raised. According to the list, the combined total of money raised for the Manchester Ideal Org project comes to $44 million, which is £32.7 million, not including the top two tiers where the associated donation value is unknown. So each of these tiers have amounts of money that we know what that means, humanitarian, with honours, and so on. But the top two, Platinum Civilization Builder and Ideal Civilization Builder, we don't actually know how much money that equates to. So it's a bit of a guess, but we know for a fact that it's at least 44 million. However, if we estimate the value of these contributions, I reckon it's probably around 19.5 million for those top two, which means the grand total is $63.5 million raised to get this building opened. It is unclear what Scientology's fundraising goal is or how much has already been spent on the refurbishment costs. The Grade 2 listed building, located on Chester Road, was originally acquired by the Church of Scientology in 2006 for a reported £3.6 million, and a planning application was submitted to Trafford Council the following year, only for it to be withdrawn shortly afterwards. The site was added to Historic England's at-risk register in 2012. Last year, the deteriorating building and its neighbouring properties were designated a conservation area and given the lowest condition rating of very bad. And this is all while the building has been under the ownership of the Church of Scientology. Let's not forget that. In 2023, according to Place Northwest, Traffic Council included the building on a list of eyesore sites that were causing a potential drag on investment. So yes, that is right, people. The Church of Scientology is an eyesore and causing a drag on investment in Manchester. This is the building that Scientology have had for 18 years, and that is what the council think of it. So I'm sure people are very glad that renovation work is finally happening. It is unclear why it has taken Scientology 18 years to begin working on the property, and they are yet to announce how long it expects construction to last or when the building will be open to the public, but it's likely to be at least a year away. Now, let's not forget that it's not just about refurbishing the building, it's about recruiting the staff as well. An Ideal Org has to have, I think it's 86 staff members before it can open. So if they've got a command team of Sea Org staff over from the US to get this project underway, they're going to need to hire replacements for those people before they can open, because they're not going to open an Ideal Org with Sea Org staff as the executive director and so on. They're going to have to recruit people to replace them so that they can go on to the next project. So even if the refurbishment project is finished within the next year, it's going to take a lot longer than that to actually get the staff and to get it to a place where Miscavige will sign it off as ready to open. So that's the update on Manchester. It's something I'm keeping a very close eye on, and I hope you guys are too. Let's have a look at some of these questions as we've been going through that I've been starring. Golden Astro Cat says, what a beautiful building. What a shame a cult has to take it. Absolutely. CO Bill says the building looks haunted, filling them with body thetans and charging a fortune to audit them out. Total racket. There we go. Matt Pritchard here says Scientology Manchester is in a lower condition. All staff would have lost their hat and replaced by mission staff. Yeah, that's exactly what's happened. The command team have come in, sacked everyone, and said, we're taking control here now. Golden Astro Cat says the sealed mission means staff at Manchester are in deep shit and will most likely be punished, striking fear in all staff. Yes, so they're publicizing it as a positive thing, but actually behind the scenes, this means people are being punished for not handling this flap. Matt says, I wonder if the damp and mold has been removed properly or is just painted over. Yeah, this is something we covered, I think it was last year or the year before. Pictures of inside the building were leaked that show there's a lot of damp and mold, and there are bed sheets that looked moldy with people staying in the building. I reported that to the authorities and they looked into it. It's a really horrible state that building is in. Sue Denim says it will be a copy of the Celebrity Centre in Paris. They'll ship everyone over and make it look packed at opening. Yeah, that's what they do. They send people over, they get it sorted, they open it, they have a lush ceremony with David Miscavige, and then they all leave and the building is empty the following day. Craig says, question, once all the work at Manchester Ideal Org is finished, which UK org do you see getting refurbished next? It's really hard to tell. So Scientology have buildings ready to be refurbished in Sunderland. That org is actually going to be moving to Gateshead. They've bought the building, again, standing derelict for 17, 18 years. Plymouth is another building. They bought the old Royal Fleet Club, I think, Yacht Club, something like that in Plymouth. That's been standing empty for years. Edinburgh is another one that's ready to go Ideal. They've bought the building and it's just sat there being empty. So it's hard to decide or to determine which one will be next. But as soon as Manchester is open, I'm sure we'll get a bit of an inkling as to which one is going to be next. But the priority absolutely in Scientology in the UK is Manchester right now. The only two Ideal orgs in the UK are London and Birmingham. So Manchester is the next one that is going to be on the list. Daniel Chamberlain says, comment, looking at all the names of donors is so strange seeing that adults whose parents I knew back in the day. Some of the donors are OGs I knew too. Yeah, and that's the thing. There's a very limited number of Scientologists in the UK, but that limited number have almost unlimited amounts of wealth by the looks of things. It's only a few people donating, but they're donating large amounts of money. And there's a small number of families that are running Scientology financially in the UK that have been in it for decades. Most Scientologists are second or third generation nowadays. Amy M says, comment, who will they get with such low recruitment. Well, this is the thing. They are desperate. They will recruit anybody and everybody they possibly can. In Ireland, the Irish Times reported last year that Scientology were caught offering jobs to asylum seekers. If they said, hey, if you hand out these leaflets for us, we'll help you with your application for asylum. And the government stepped in and said, no, you can't help with your application for asylum. Working for Scientology doesn't help you get a visa. But that doesn't stop Scientology trying. So it wouldn't surprise me if they try and recruit asylum seekers, people in vulnerable positions. That's what Scientology do, is they promise you the world. They say, if you join staff, you'll earn a load of money. It'll be great. You'll help people. But as soon as the doors open and there's no public to service, there's nothing going on. It's dead. And these people have signed these contracts, and then they're given freeloader bills to pay all of the training and services they got for free while they're on staff if they leave before their contract is over. It's absolutely disgusting. But nonetheless, they will be trying their hardest to recruit in Manchester right now to try and get people into the org on services and then recruited onto staff. Now, finally, before we wrap up, I wanted to talk a little bit about fair game. Fair game against me recently has definitely increased, as I covered on my channel before. The Observer, The Guardian, put out this huge expose on Scientology's harassment of UK critics, including myself, how over now 10,000 tweets have been directed my way trying to attack me and those who stood in protest with me at the IES protest last year and the year before. I had my front door kicked in, and many other things have been going on. It is relentless. It is non-stop. And on the 13th of April, I noticed, because LinkedIn allows you to see who's been viewing your profile, Janet, our good friend, was looking at my LinkedIn profile on the 13th of April. Janet, if for everybody who doesn't know, is the managing director of the Church of Scientology UK and the head of the Office of Special Affairs. So hi, Janet. We all love Janet here. And we will embrace her with open arms if she ever decides to leave. But she's clearly thinking about me a lot more than I'm thinking about her, because she viewed my profile on the 13th of April. And then just 2 weeks later, I noticed on LinkedIn somebody from the Church of Scientology London was looking at my LinkedIn profile. So they are keeping very close tabs on me and what I'm doing. And they seem to have forgotten that on LinkedIn, you can see who views your profile. This amounts, in my opinion, to stalking, because they are consistently looking at my profile and keeping a close eye on me, tweeting me, following me, looking at my actions online, and it is stalking. So it is something that is to be not to be sneezed at. It's something to keep an eye on. And the in-person harassment has also increased. For example, members of my family have been contacted by the Church of Scientology. An article went up today in their Freedom magazine about my mother, who was never in Scientology. And she is someone who supports me fully in everything that I'm doing, as my mother. But she's had no links to Scientology whatsoever. And yet she's now being targeted online in a campaign of harassment, which is outrageous. There's also now a hate site up against me. They bought the domain name whoisalexbarnesross.org and set up a hate site with numerous lies and fabrications and accusations about me and other people who have attended protests, people who I know, people who I don't know, and they're trying to link me up with people that I've never even met or spoken to. It's absolutely outrageous, but the fair game definitely has increased, and I wanted to just bring that up because I'm sure this is only just the start of it, but it shows that they are concerned about the activism that I've been doing. And rightfully so, because I'm asking for the abuse to stop in Scientology. And if you want me to go away, it's really, really simple. All you have to do is stop abusing people, pay your staff the minimum wage, stop forcing people to have abortions, stop with the human trafficking and the child trafficking, give people time off and holidays, let people have their own devices when you're in the SEA organization, let them leave whenever they want to, stop the abuse. When the abuse stops, I go away. It's that simple. But of course, that's really hard for Scientology to do. But I wanted to raise that with you guys so that it was on the record that the fair game has notably increased since the billboards went up, since the press articles have happened in the last couple of weeks. And I've said before that I'm only just getting started. There is more in the pipeline, and I'm not backing down anytime soon. This is nothing but harassment that they are pursuing against me, and it's not something that is pleasant. It is something to be expected, but it's not something to be accepted or you know, allowed, right? It's something that they shouldn't be doing. What church goes after former members like this and buys domain names and sets up hate websites against the former members and its critics? It is discrimination and it's harassment. Becky, Big Brother fan, says, Alex, you do not deserve this. Thank you for all you do. I hope you have tons of support from those close to you. Thank you. Yes. And the support that you guys give me as a community is really important too. And I really do appreciate it. The messages of support, the messages of compassion and kindness really do get me through the day. It's not nice. And I'm not sitting here complaining about it, because when you speak out about Scientology, you know this is going to happen, but it's not something we should tolerate. And I want to just be open about it and say it's happening and it's increased. You know, and the tweets and the attacks online are continuing every single day. They've put up multiple videos on their Stand League YouTube account and Freedom Vetted Facts YouTube account recently, which are completely twisting my words and cutting videos I've made to make it sound like I've said something different. And you know, it's just outrageous, really. And I want to keep shining a light on it because I'm not afraid of it. And all it does is spur me on to make more content about it. So if you want me to stop making videos about fair game, stop fair gaming me, Scientology. Simple as. Golden Astro Cat says, you must be winning, Alex. They're clearly worried. Yes. And Becky says, you know, you are making an incredible difference if you have a hate site. In a weird way, it is a badge of honor, but it's not exactly a nice badge of honor. It's not something I necessarily wanted. SP Crusader says, please support the channel by hitting the like button. Absolutely. And if you want to support the channel financially, you can buy me a coffee using the link down below. That's really, really helpful for the activism that I've been doing and keeping me going. Petrie Nar says, so sorry it's happening to you and your family. And Amy M says, they're big mad about the billboards. Yeah, precisely. So I'm going to keep shining a light on what they've been doing and what they are continuing to do. Lupita, thank you so much for the super sticker. That is very, very kind of you. I really appreciate that. Annette says, keep up your very important work, Alex. Yes. Talking of work, the festival season starts this weekend. So over the next couple of months, you'll probably see less of me on YouTube because, as many of you know, my work is very seasonal and I get very, very busy over the summer period with work. I spend a lot of my time in fields in the middle of nowhere, working at music festivals and venues and that sort of thing. And I have to prioritize making money in the summer so that I can get through the winter period, which means I'll have less time to be on YouTube. But that doesn't mean I'm not continuing to be an activist and engaging in meetings of politicians and so on during the week. So if you see less of me over the next couple of months, don't be concerned. I'm just busy with work, but I will try and get on YouTube as much as I can. Please subscribe to Scientologybusiness.com, which is my blog. You'll get email updates whenever an article goes out, and I'll try and get to YouTube whenever I can. But that's it for now from me, guys. There's more coming in the pipeline, lots of stuff planned. As I said, if you want to support the channel, please consider buying me a coffee. Donate to the Aftermath Foundation if you want to help people escape and leave. And I'll see you on the next one.